What's up, guys? Uh, so I got these pair of Vibergs here. Just wanted to go over them. These are Boondockers. They're on the 2045 last. They're in the box said Marine Field Rough Out leather, but I mean that's just the old name for rough out natural chromexyl. I got these from uh, I think it was called a shop called DC Style. DC, or it was either CD or DC. I can't remember which, but it's like some shop in I can't. I probably should have looked this up, but it was either in Switzerland or Sweden, one of those countries, anyways. But yeah, so I've been wearing these. I've got it like maybe like a total of a month. I bought them a few months ago, and it's taken me this long to get just a month of wear on them now. So I figured we'd go over them. Haven't seen too much info about like the 2045 last and stuff, so figured it'd be a kind of interesting video to do for anyone looking at stuff like this. So yeah, this is a boondocker. Um, so it looks pretty similar to just their like regular service boot pattern. Uh, the main visual difference is it has 4 rows of stitching there, where the quarters are stitched to the vamp there, and it has 3 rows of stitching on the backstay and heel counter there, and this white contrast thread. I don't know, it kind of gives it a little more of a not so dressy look that it seems like what Viberg kind of goes for on their service boot pattern. Uh, has like this uh, nickel plated rivet there, you know, kind of cool looking, a little different from some of the other stuff that's out there. Uh, has an unstructured toe. The 2045 last, it actually has a bump toe. You can kind of see it there. It was a lot more pronounced when I first got it, but since it's unstructured and I've been wearing it, see it kind of flattened out a little there. Um, I really, I guess if you needed more toe room, a bump toe is kind of nice, but I mean when it's unstructured like that, I mean it flattens out. It's as I wear it more, it's probably gonna flatten out more. Uh, I love the look of this boot. You know, Viberg kind of seems like they want to, you know, put refined into every single boot that they do. Thankfully, there are shops that do collabs that put out boots like this, which I personally like more. Um, if you the fashion messiah Brett Viberg, I guess he's super interested in putting like 9 tiny eyelets on everything and blind eyelets and stuff, which I mean, though that's fine. I'm really not a fan of that, but what do I know? So yeah, I like these more not so much rugged, but just a little less dressy type of boots. And it kind of sucks that I had to go to a shop in another continent just to get something like this. Just and because it's an awesome boot. I don't know why they don't make a lot more of these. I think they would probably sell like hotcakes if they did. Probably would have been a lot cheaper too. So the last in sizing, it is the 2045 last. Uh, for on the Viberg site, it says it's kind of like a military inspired last. Uh, you know, if you can see there, it's pretty Munson looking. Like the where your big toe is, it doesn't really angle much in like say on a 2030. It's a lot more straight. It's got a lot more room in the toe box itself. I really like the last. I mean, I guess I could do without the bump toe, and they make another last, which is pretty much this without the bump toe. Uh, you don't see that last very much either. So, uh, but yeah, no, the last is really nice. It's got plenty of toe room. Uh, it narrows down pretty decently at the waist there. It's snug in the heel for me. Uh, on the Viberg site, it says it's like a double E last. Uh, maybe in the toe box, I guess. Like, I'm a 12D Brannick on the 2030 last. I wear 11, and pretty much every Viberg last I wear an 11. And this is I got this in 11. Uh, Pretty different than other Viberg lasts I've worn. It's plenty of toe room. It's snug where I like it to be snug. And I guess I can show you some other Viberg lasts here to kind of compare it to. So, so this is a 2030, same size, but it's just a boondocker also. It's got an unstructured toe. This is I think it was Blue Owl that I got this from. Uh, so you can see here the difference in the toe shape. So this would be a good choice if like you find the 2030 how it angles in on both sides there and tapers in. Like if you have issues with the toe, this would be a nice alternative for you. Uh, yeah, just a lot more room in the toe there. I personally think it looks better than like this pointier toe, but I mean that's really something up to each person, I guess. Uh, if the 2045 lasts, it from my experience with it, like it feels a little more snug in here in the waist in the heel than like say the 2030 uh with the E width feels. So I really like this last. Here it is compared to a 1035. That's the toe there. See the bottoms, how like the waist is just slightly more narrow on the 2045 here. Just slightly too. Uh so I wear the same size in the 2045 as I do in the 2030 and the 1035. What I noticed is it felt a little more snug here, like it was low. It felt more lower volume, uh, right here than compared to the other two last. So like you know if you wear a 2030 or a 1035 and it's snug for you there in those. I don't know if you if you would like this in the same size. Maybe think about going a half down from Brannick instead of a full size down, like I did. It works for me though. Yeah, just and you can kind of see it here, like it where it's formed my foot there. Like it was pretty snug starting out there, but I mean it feels great now. Uh, the rivet on it, like when I first got it, I could really feel the rivet on the inside there. Uh, it was the first boot that I've had with a rivet in it like that, and I don't know, I don't feel it anymore. You know, if that's from the boot stretching out or maybe I just got used to it. But yeah, just regularly wearing it, I don't really feel the rivet anymore. The only time I ever feel it is when I'm crouched down, Like it kind of presses into my foot, but I mean it's not uncomfortable. It just I can actually feel it and know it's there. But I mean that's when I'm crouched down, and that doesn't happen all too often. The construction of this one is a little different than their service boot. This is actually Goodyear welted. See there. Um, I actually I actually like Vibergs that are Goodyear welted more than their stitch down stuff. I think with that super small stitching, I think it just looks better Goodyear welted, mainly because you can't see it, I guess. But yeah, I think it looks a lot better than the stitch down boots that they make, and it's also a pretty interesting way of Goodyear welting that they do. So they do a channeled sole, uh, and that's a little different than most Goodyear welted boots. Like the vast majority of Goodyear welted boots uh, use a fabric gemming, like a canvas gemming, and that's usually just stitched or not stitched, but it's usually just glued to the insole, and then they stitch everything else through that. But Viberg actually uses a machine that cuts a holdfast into the sole. So instead of a canvas rib that's glued onto the sole itself, it's actual an integral part of the sole where they'll actually stitch through. So that makes for a lot more durable, like stronger construction method. Like, does it actually matter for the type of stuff that I'm gonna do in a boot like this? No, probably not. The normal way of Goodyear welting is a perfectly fine way to make a boot, and the vast majority of boots are made like that. But I mean, objectively, yeah, this way of doing it is a stronger way of doing it. And see if I can. I think I have a sole here where I can kind of show you. Where's that element? Okay, here we go. So so this is how the majority of Goodyear welted boots are made. So you see this strip of here, it's canvas, and so it makes this rib, and that's what they stitch like the uppers to and all that. So so it would sit like this, with this being the bottom of the boot. So they have that rib where they stitch through, and uh like it's not like a super major problem, but just through a lot of wear, like it's just glued on here. So you can see I can just pull that up. So with what Viberg does is it has a machine that actually cuts. See this rib? It will actually cut a rib into the sole itself, and that's what they stitch through. So you don't have this problem of that being pulled up. So so that's why I really like Viberg's Goodyear welded stuff. Uh, and maybe that's kind of stuff doesn't matter to you, which is perfectly fine. Uh, but I like it. And you don't really see too many companies doing stuff like that. So, you know, kudos to Viberg. So the pricing, it is a Viberg, so I'm sure you can probably guess what I'm gonna say. Like it's super expensive. Like I think this was, geez, probably close to $1,000. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, and then I don't even know how much I got charged for the currency conversion and all that. But so it probably ended up maybe around $1,000. I can't remember, something like that. So yeah, super expensive. I really wish it wasn't that expensive. Uh, you know, I really can't. Aside from the channeled Goodyear welting, it's finished really well. I really can't make any objective arguments about why it's that expensive. It's a cool boot, super expensive though. But again, I don't I don't really know of too many other companies where you can get a boot that's built like this. You know, usually usually you would only see stuff like that in a hand welted boot where they actually cut the holdfast in by hand. This is very similar. It's just they do it with a machine. Um, so just looking at these, you know, a lot. I'm sure plenty of people would balk at paying that much for a pair of boots, just in general. Like, and you know what? I don't blame you. That's a lot of money for a boot. So we can take a look at some other stuff that are kind of in the similar vein. You know, kind of this style of boot that are significantly less expensive. So so here's the uh, Oak Street Bootmakers N1 shoe. You know, unstructured toe, kind of their take on it on the Boondocker. Uh, it's the same leather. It's the exact same leather as the Viberg, but I've just dubbed it so it looks a little different. But you can see the last here. This is the Elston last. Pretty similar. You know, lots of toe room in both. They look very similar, but you can see the Elston is just bigger, pretty much almost everywhere. Uh, so it's a little more clunky looking, you know. Like if you were looking for a boot like this, but this is definitely the Viberg is definitely a little more sleek and you know just kind of prettier, really, if that matters to you. But you know this would be a good alternative if you didn't want to spend that. It's not built as well. It's definitely rougher finished. It uses a synthetic heel counter, but you know it's close to like $500 less than this boot. So definitely a viable alternative if you didn't want to spend almost $1,000 for a boot. It's great boot though, you know, awesome boot. And then here's a Truman uh, boot, you know, unstructured toe, built really well, you know, Goodyear welted. This is a Dark Coyote rough out is the leather on this Truman. Yeah, this has been a fantastic boot. I love it. But you can see the 79 last compared to the 2045. You know, in the waist there, you can see the 2045 is narrows down quite a bit. Again, probably like almost around $500, probably more than $500 less than the Viberg. Uh, kind of similar-ish style, but yeah, great boot. So so yeah, those are some other boots. Like if you were looking for you know this kind of stylish boot with the rough out leather and the unstructured toe, it's something to think about. So yeah, the Viberg Boondocker, uh, cool boot, uh, pretty awesome way to do a Goodyear welded boot as far as I'm concerned. Uh, Super expensive, you know. I I kind of that I think really I could just sum this up as this is an awesome boot. It looks awesome. The 2045 last, it fits me great. I wish it wasn't that expensive though, but hey, what are you gonna do? Yeah, so that's them. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.